Hello and welcome to the Slapshot Syndicate podcast. Be sure to subscribe for more content, and whilst you're at it, go and follow our social media pages. They're on screen now. Now, on to the episode. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Slapshot Syndicate. Lads, first weekend away of the season. Big trip for us. Good, wasn't it?
Yeah, fantastic weekend. Nice trip down to Solway in Dumfries. So that was a long journey for us, wasn't it? But one we needed to make, and I was so glad we made it this weekend, to be honest with you. It wrapped up the sort of like Christmas holidays nicely for us, didn't it?
It did, yeah. I mean, I think we should give a massive thanks to Solway once again.
Yeah.
You know, we spoke to them a couple of months ago about the possibility of a puck drop because there was advertising it on their sort of social media for fans to be able to do that. Straight away, there was complimentary in giving us our tickets, and they also offered us a puck drop for free when we was there. You know, we was met and they was really kind and, you know, pointing us in the right direction and stuff, boys. It was a great experience, wasn't it? It was, I mean, it was amazing for a team to do that for us, and yeah, an absolute whopper of a set of matches, wasn't it? Like, there was just feist everywhere, but obviously we'll get into that. But yeah, like first away, technically the first away trip of the year, 2026, and yeah, class. Really enjoyed it.
Long may it continue.
Absolutely, boys. Yeah.
Well, that said then, let's jump into Seahawks reaction. So let's look into how Seahawks performed this weekend then, fellas. As we mentioned in the intro, we went up to Dumfries to watch Solway Sharks hosting Hull Seahawks on the Saturday. And yeah, what did you make of the game?
It was a tough one, really, for us, I think. I think Solway came out of the blocks, to be honest. They knew what they needed to do to get the job done, and I think they executed it quite well. In fairness to them, I thought they played like a good team. They're clearly getting that like chemistry out of it together now, and you could see that from a mile off. But yeah, I just wanted to start making a comment about, there was a fair few Hull fans there who had made the trip for this, which was nice to see. Getting behind the boys and that. Should have really been a 4-point weekend for us, I think. But Solway Sharks did their job, did it well, and put us to the sword a little bit, really, didn't they?
Really good game plan, aggressive, like you say. 16 seconds, they'd already put up a marker, and I think that sort of sets the tone straight away, doesn't it, really? And you think, oh, here we are, we're in a bit of trouble here if this is how the play's going to go forward.
I think what you said there in terms of it should have been a 4-point weekend is the expectation that was going in. But I think after this game, especially when we was coming home, was sort of it was one of the first times this season where I thought I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
Our team has been shaken up a little bit. We was running 3 lines, which we're usually accustomed to running 4. But so was Solway, and that wasn't an excuse for us to say, well, because we had a load of players missing, that's why Solway won. They was the same as us. It was 3-line hockey versus 3-line hockey. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about the referees, and obviously Matty mentioned in his interview about being atrocious and less refereeing and stuff like that. But again, I think the referee gave bad calls to both sides. I think there was a couple that we maybe got away with in terms of things we did to Solway. I do think there was a couple on our side that weren't given, or Alex Kent springs out to me for an example where I think one of their players has gone up against the boards with Dylan Hare. Alex Kent's then reacted, and Alex Kent's the one that got the penalty. Yeah. But again, their goals were all scored at even strength. Obviously, we'll go through them in a little bit now. So I want to be the first one to go out there and say that I thought Solway were worth the win. To be honest, yeah,
absolutely.
I think when you're a team that's at the bottom of the table, you've got to fight and you've got to dig in, and and I think that's what Solway did in this game. I thought they looked comfortable on their own ice. I thought that they played decent hockey, and I think that their gaffer pretty much summed it up after the game. I think he said, too many times this season they've been bent and the rule has snapped, but they didn't. They just kept getting bent and bouncing back, didn't they? Today, on Saturday night, and again they've come out with 2 massive points, which is massively needed for them.
Yeah, I think for me personally, we need to touch on the Sobchak news that broke before we even dropped puck this weekend. So obviously Owen Sobchak has left the Hull Seahawks now and gone to the Leeds Knights. Bit of a big blow going into this weekend. I know he's been a bit on the fringes, bit in and out of the team at the moment, but still a player you know, from most teams in the league, wouldn't you? And obviously Leeds see, you know, the player that he was last year and potentially the player he can return to this year. Massive call.
It's a bit of a sad reality for us, that one. I think, you know, we've all had an affection towards Sobchak. I think the whole fan base has as well, and you know, you can't overlook what he did last season, being the MVP, and almost you could almost say that we really didn't do him any favours by not winning anything. So for me, I don't know if his, you know, performance with us this season has been on the back of, you know, getting an MVP last season and still coming away with nothing, or if it's just been the tactics that Matty's tried to put in place he can't get on board with, or he just isn't that sort of player. Yeah. Don't know what it is. All we know is he's been given an opportunity to walk into the lead side essentially, and Matty, in all of his honour, has gone and spoken to Sobchak and gone, we've got this, you've got this offer, what do you want to do, and put it on the table for him. He's obviously looked at that and gone, well, potentially Hull running 5 imports, someone's going to be on the chopping block at some point. If that's going to be me, I'd rather make that choice now and, you know, make the jump over to Leeds.
Knocking every week, don't
exactly, and I think if I'm completely honest, it's probably the right call for him. If that was how it was going to play out, and you know, someone have to go, and based on the performances, not taking into account what we know he can do, then it was maybe the right call for him. Yeah. As a business decision, you know, I need to get into this Leeds team. I'm going to get first line hockey. Still, I'm close by. If he's made, you know, friends and relationships around here, or and ultimately he can be pushing for some titles. So, yeah, nonetheless, very, very sad day for us, wasn't it? I think we all had a little bit of a week, didn't we, in the car on the way to Solway on the Saturday, because this got announced at 11 o'clock on Friday night, I think. And obviously they wanted, well, it seems to me like they wanted to make that announcement then because Leeds needed to announce it for the weekend, coming into, you know, their fixtures as well. And that's evidently how it played out.
Yeah. Do you think it made an impact on the team, us playing this weekend? And obviously we had 4 other imports, so he might not be playing regardless, but how do you think it changed the weekend?
Personally, yes, because well, we've seen it firsthand. He's a magician, isn't he? It's what we call him, the inevitable one. So he can seem to get things going when we're maybe looking a little bit beaten, or I don't know, we need to start competing to get back into a game. He brings that flair into it, and he, you know, maybe even if he doesn't succeed in it, he maybe puts them on the back foot a little bit because they don't want to engage him so quick, because inevitably he gets round you. So I think it was a miss because he creates opportunities for us, and obviously he's like Bobby's assist man as well. So yeah, I think it would be a little bit dumb of me to say it didn't impact us. And personally, for this game, had we had him, I would have probably put him in the squad.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree with what Brad said there. I think obviously we ran the 4 imports, and I think I want to touch on Hull on Saturday night. You know, the scoreline says 5-2, but the boys did work really hard on that night.
Yeah.
There wasn't any cases of sort of like, I don't think it was a case where they just sort of sat back and let Solway have the way with the game. You know, I think all 3 lines tried really hard, but I think sometimes when, you know, you don't have that, when that hard work isn't sort of paying off, you know, you maybe do need that extra little bit of flair, or that little just moment of magic that can just sort of flip a game for you. And obviously Sobchak inevitably is a player that has done that last season and this season as well. You know, a game a couple of weeks ago, I can't really remember who it was now, but I think Sobs had like a man of the match performance in one of his last games for Hull, and he did exactly that. So although he wasn't playing, you know, his best hockey this season, he'll admit to that. You know, he still had the ability to do that, really. So I do think that, you know, it was a big miss. But again, like you said, like you said, Brad, sorry, you know, one of them had to go, and when you've got that offer from Leeds, it's hard to turn down, isn't it?
Yeah, and ultimately, you know, at some point, Matt would have had to make a call, wouldn't he? And they weren't making it easy for him to make that decision. No. So it's almost been taken out of his hands to a degree.
What was your take on
it? Sob's going. I think I'd said it for a little while. I could see him probably going at some point. My personal thoughts was that how much he carried us last season and the disappointing start, not making grounds in the cup, I think he'd almost felt like, oh no, not this again. Why am I going to batter myself and put up 115 points again to not really get anything out of it? Which people will say, well, that's a negative mindset, but it must cross your mind at some point. We've seen this season how much of a toll it is on the body and the mind. This ice hockey business, and you want to have some sort of reward for doing it, don't you? You don't just want to do it for turning up and getting battered and bruised by somebody else every week. So it's a tough one, but fair play to him. He's got an opportunity there with Leeds, with a great outfit, and he will make big strides for them. They're still pushing for the title themselves, so big addition in my opinion. Thought on the night, it was a lot of those. We looked good at times. We did well on on the sort of metrics. You look at total shots, etc., and we was high up on those, but we just didn't seem to create any grade A chances to really at the back of the net. When you look at both the goals we scored, there was almost like dumps on goal and and taking the eyes away from Jordan.
Yeah, which is a way to score. We see it a lot, don't we, in hockey? I just noticed it's been credited to Jordan Stallard. I thought it was Hodge, to be honest with you, from where we were sitting. I didn't really see the tip, but must have been a bit of a tip off.
Delicate little tip.
Yeah. So it must have been a little tip from him, and he's been credited with the goal. But yeah, I agree with you. There didn't really seem to be a lot of grade A chances. I think when we were pushing up the ice, we did seem to get sort of caught napping a little bit. And in the back, they had the quality in the side, and they were sort of counter attacking in that sense. And then they did have some quite good clear chances, and I do think that was the difference really, is just being able to create things. We were, like you say, we were having the shots, but the shot on goal isn't as effective if it's from the blue line.
If the keeper
all the
can
time,
see it all the way, he's just going to catch it, and he's under no real threat. But yeah, I think the big one for me, the big turning point, what could have been in the game, is obviously they went 2-0 up. We came back and brought it back to 2-2, which you obviously mentioned not long back. Obviously that whole bending but not breaking. And what Solway have been doing in the past few games, unfortunately, is taking leads but then allowing it to slip. And instead they sort of reset the minds and focus and thought, we still got this game. We haven't thrown it away just yet. We just need to stick with it. And they did, and obviously it paid them dividends in the end, and that's the result. Yeah,
like even though they had them 3 lines, I was really impressed by especially the first and second line. I thought, the combination of the imports that they've got, not only Yancis, Stewart, and obviously Arsenal, but obviously big bolts as well. I like the way that they've sort of spread the lines. They've obviously got Jordan Boycer up top as well, but I thought like the way Stewie was on second line a little bit sometimes, and where they've got that sort of quality through the lines. Like I thought Stewie was a massive factor on his line, and Boycer was a really big factor with Yantis on their line as well. But then also obviously the fact that I didn't realise how much Arsenal sort of contributed going forward. Like he's a really good skater, and obviously bolts is bolts. He's got a wicked slap shot. He's there to sort of try and affect the game, sort of intimidate opponents and sort of put people off the games, which obviously we know that he can do. And again, he was a big contributor factor. A lot of people near us was giving him a lot of hassle, weren't they? But then I think it was the third or fourth goal where he nicks it off our forward, taps it up the ice, and two more passes and it was in the net, and people were still shouting, "Bolton, you crap!" And he's just like sort of like.
It's a bit awkward when they're sort of controlling the game and winning, and that's the best you can give, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. I think for me, looking at this game as a whole, it was hard to tell what our game plan was going into it. Whereas obviously Solway's was pretty clear. I think we maybe needed to try and tire Solway out a little bit more, which we didn't really do. We said they maybe do tire in that third period, and that's where they seem to constantly leak a lot of goals, and we didn't really. I think they kept up pace with us quite a lot. I don't know if that's because of the lines, us only running 3 lines, and it's physically exerting on both sides. But yeah, that was Matty's game plan then going into Sunday night, really, wasn't it? To try and get an extra line in there.
And that was an hard do on that Saturday night as well, because we've got to remember, like, Musil was on. I think Musil started on first line with Sobs and Emmy, and not Sobs obviously, Bobby and Emmy, and you know, that's a big responsibility after only playing like 2 or 3 games. His match fitness probably isn't there. Alex Kemp was on third line. He was on every other shift, ratting about and stuff like that. You know, we was missing quite a few players, weren't we? And you know, it seemed like a real tricky night for him. Like there was obviously we all recognise they did put a lot of effort in, but you know when you look at those 3 lines, it was only maybe second line that's probably played together for a game this season so far, and you know when that's the kind of sort of the hand that you dealt, it's quite a tricky. You know, thing to navigate that, innit? You can't just be like, here's the game plan, boys. Oh, by the way, you're playing with him and you're playing with him, but I know you haven't played together before, but it'll be alright to go on the ice and do it. Like, it's easier said than done, isn't it?
So, just another thing that you've just tweaked in my mind. So, on the night we was told that the top line for Hull Seahawks, they had conceded 4 goals on the night. What do you think to that? In terms of a whole, is that a bit worrying that your top line is the one that's been...
So the fellow next to us mentioned that to me, didn't he? He said sort of like, have you noticed that the first 3 or 4 goals have been all been when the first line's on the ice? So I was a bit like, really? But then thinking back, like obviously the starting, we conceded after 16 seconds, you know, like when it sort of twigged in my mind, and I was a bit like, oh, that first line being, you know, the line with Speck and Bob on it.
Yeah.
You know, but it was I don't know, like I don't really know what to make of that, to be honest with you.
I think it's probably from the way I saw the game play out and the way the chances Solway got. It was us chasing the game, so it meant, you know, we were pushing up the ice.
We had to put our first line on the ball,
and they were getting passes through, whether it was centre ice, and they was getting round us. And I think it was because we had to push. We had to keep pushing for a goal and getting that far up the ice, and Solway were just sort of like, okay, well, we can do that. We can do that too, but we don't need to. We'll just try and get it through and create an opportunity where there was 2 on 2, 3 on 2, you know, 3 on 1 at certain occasions, and that's how they managed to put us to bed.
So with us being behind kind of thing, we had to put the first and second line more on to try
I don't
and chase
even
that
necessarily
goal,
think it was just because we was behind, because I think it started happening like quite early. Obviously, they scored 16 seconds in.
Yeah.
And
the game hasn't even had a chance to sort of work itself out, has it, before it's happened?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so yeah, in a way, we was chasing the game right from the off.
Yeah.
And I think there was a real urgency with us conceding 16 seconds in to get a goal back quickly, and I think it probably opened us up more than it should have done.
Yeah, I think we'll leave Saturday there then, boys. So Solway Sharks taking that 5-2. I think the sort of summary of that game would be effort, but just lacking a bit of quality to see us through.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair comment to make on it. So then coming back home on the Sunday, Seahawks winning this one 6-5 is the first thing to mention. Another tough game though.
Yeah, very tough. They didn't make it easy for us, did they?
No.
You know, they do have some quality players in that team, and again,
Taking the lead once again.
Yeah, taking the lead. Same sort of people popping up on the score sheet, on the assists and stuff as well. But obviously, we need to know that we did win the game, and for a while, I think it was a couple of minutes towards the end, we were leading by 3. I want to say.
So throughout the game, Solway went 1-up, didn't they? I believe it was like 1-0, 1-1, 2-0, 2-2, 3-2, 3-3. I think they went up 3 times, and when we went 4-3 up, you said that's the first time we've gone up this game, and I was like, what? And then we went 5-3, looks pretty comfortable, didn't we? Did we then go 6-3? And then
went
6-3, didn't we? And then obviously they gave us a little bit of a scare towards the end. Stewie then obviously again popped up with 2.
That's what I mean. We had a 3 goal lead
Yeah.
at one point, and it was like, okay,
So
maybe
still
this
that
is dead and buried, but
so still that little fear factor in there, really, weren't they?
I think it's just worth noting. So the scores was thereabouts level at the end of the first and the end of the second.
Yeah.
The big push came in. I think it was the first 2 minutes of the third period where Seahawks scored twice,
Came
and you
straight
suddenly
out,
thought,
didn't they?
"Wow, there's a fire here now."
Yeah.
Where we've lacked that bit of, you know, cutting edge and quality.
Yeah.
It happened in 2 minutes, and it gave us
Yeah.
that little goal cushion that we needed going into that third period.
100%.
some people had some good games though as well. I want to know Bono worked very hard last night.
He had a big weekend this weekend, and he had
got on the
to.
score sheet as well.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry, yeah. Bones had a big. He had to have a big weekend this weekend because we needed those players to be leaders, didn't we?
Yeah.
But nobody bigger than Emmy Svek.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, definitely. Emmy, you know, he got us going, didn't he? I think in the start, obviously, he's good for a power play goal. We know that he's good for an open play goal. And yeah, luckily for us, he came up clutch on Sunday. So It's the same people, isn't it? You know, you've got Johnny Cornell. He does a fantastic job. In my opinion, he does a fantastic job week in, week out, doing a lot of the gritty stuff that people don't do. And I think that's what we needed in this game. I think that was some of the differences, people doing that hard, gritty work. Johnny and Bonner both doing that as well. You can sort of spread it across lines and stuff, and I felt we did that quite well.
Yeah. One thing to note as well from this game that I've just noticed is, you know, that import talk where we're like, oh, well, Sobs has gone now. You know, the imports this weekend have sort of, I almost said, well, you know, they've still put up goals and points, haven't they? Like in this game, look, for example, the only player that hadn't scored was Bart, but he got himself an assist, didn't he? So all three of the imports that are forward imports have sort of repaid Matty's faith there a little bit, haven't they? And, you know, they've got on the score sheet. So that I guess that's quite a big positive to take, isn't it? Especially with Stally. I'm sure he'll have been, you know, very eager to keep going with those goals and assists.
It's the big thing for me as this going to sound. We scored 6, but we still look like we're struggling to score.
Yeah.
It seems like we're really having to dig deep to get these goals at the minute, where there's been times where a free scoring and made it look real easy and natural, whereas like we're really having to dig deep, and it's horrible little goals. I think was Bobby's where he sort of got through and then he had to sort of jab at it a little bit, didn't he? And just sneak it through the legs and get it over the line. It's those ones that are really like, oh God, we need them.
Do you think, in your guys' opinion, do you think that's because of the big changes and the fact that we've had people in and out and new lines are playing together? Do you think that it's just a matter of time, or do you think it's those lines now have to rebuild chemistry?
I think it's a bit of both. I think you do need to start building some chemistry with the players you're on. There has been movement on the lines, I get that, but it's almost like we're stuck in a bit of a rut.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you guys watched Hewitt's interview last night. He did come out and say, and like the team was a little bit unsettled at that time, and I think it was fair to say there was people, you know, maybe a little bit gutted that Sobs had gone, maybe fully understanding the decision behind it. Not just about Sobs, as obviously we're on the back of quite a few losses, starting questioning their own abilities, the team's abilities, are they the team that they're expected to be, etc. So I think that has been a factor in them. I think you can tell that, to be honest with you. I don't know whether that's the crux of us not being able to get goals, because players who play with confidence tend to score. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's played a factor in it, but I think it's just worth noting that has been going through the team. And obviously between Hewitt, some of the leaders in this team, you've got Hewitt, Bobby, Matty himself, and probably the imports as well, trying to lift everybody up and go, come on, we've still got this. We're a top quality team, and we can produce that as well. Okay. And there were moments of that, like you said, there was the 2 minutes there in the third period where you thought, oh, we're going to get a really tight, close game again, and we showed a bit of it. So yeah, I think they just need to hold their heads up a little bit higher, believe in themselves. The fans believe in them, where they're week in, week out. A lot of other fans are there week in, week out. It's not just for the hockey; it's the investment and the love in the team. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm hopeful that this could be a little bit of a catalyst for us to move on.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assumption on what's played out this weekend, and I think that's worth ending on that note, really, to be honest, unless you both got anything else extra to add on, really. I
was just going to say, any honourable mentions for Solway in the second game as well, because again, I don't think we should brush over them. Again, they've come to our sort of rink and give us a real good game, haven't they?
I think it's a full team performance. I think both games was for both teams. I think there was plenty of effort on both sides. Yeah. I think it was just that real good quality, which would really take on one of the teams to get off the edge, which both teams got great players, both teams got great imports, as we've seen the past few weeks. You could name every single import on both teams and just say they're all quality in their own right. I don't know what it was. It was just, we almost got dragged to a lower table battle. I know Solway are better than where they are in the table at the minute. They're playing some good hockey and will grind out more results. Yeah. It's just a situation at the start of the season, which I believe is probably why they are in the position they're in. I think both teams were quite happy to have taken 2 points there and move on quickly and learn a lot from what happened this weekend.
Agreed.
Yeah, there was some afters, weren't they, on the ice as well, so we might get a nice match-up at the next game.
Yeah.
Nobody seemed to want to go for it, though.
No, I don't know whether that was because the game was done and dusted at that point, and both teams being a bit short-benched, thinking maybe we don't want to get a ban.
I think there was invites to the party, but nobody wanted to go out.
I don't know whether it was a case that nobody wanted to get involved, but you don't know behind the scenes what's going on and stuff like that. Like, you know, it's a tricky situation to navigate in it, but we don't know the full story, so let's not make any assumptions.
Well.
But yeah, all I'm going to say is I feel like the Solway and Hull have got 2 more games for this season. One away. And then our last game of the regular season is Solway at home. So who knows? You know, it's clear. There's a couple of lads on each team that don't really like each other. So
I don't know. I don't even know if it's that. I don't think it's.
I think it is that. After this point, I think it is.
I don't think it's a dislike. I think it's a case of if you're going to play that game, then you need to be ready to answer the bell as well.
I think you've got to. I think there was an opportunity there to sort of, especially as a Hull team, to sort of like, this is our pad.
Yeah.
You know, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it, and it just didn't seem like we really wanted to go there.
Because I think that played into Solway's Arsenal as well. There was like, if they're not gonna give us it back, then we're going to try and run this.
Well, of course you're going to do.
For 2 periods they didn't. They didn't run it, but like there was comfortable, wasn't there? And every time there was something, there was all like, come on then. Like, like Kent, for example.
The great escape.
Like, I love Kent, and I think I want to put it out there that obviously I'm a bit of a fan of Kent. You guys know that, and you know I think he's had a real good weekend this weekend. But the image of him sprinting away from Jake Bolton will live in my mind forever, because
it was the fact he had to then get by.
He didn't want
to the bench. He was like, "Oh, just want to get off."
Sprinting, bless him, but I don't blame him at all, because I see what Bolton can do, and I won't fancy it either.
Maybe you made the right call there.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a fight another week.
Yeah.
Like, run, Kent, run!
Get off,
switch!
So yeah, as we mentioned there, obviously a win apiece. You know, got a bit touch and go towards at the end for the home game, but we did see it out. 2 points, and we can hope that maybe a bit more quality comes into our game, and we're not having to push as hard to try and eke out the results.
Yeah,
I think that's a fair thing to. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah. With that said, then that concludes Seahawks reaction. So now we're going to have a look at the results from the past week as well, and fellas, and there was a fair few. We've obviously been around that festive period. The first one being the 31st of December, and it was a home tie for the Sheffield Steel Dogs against the Leeds Knights. Big Yorkshire derby on one for, you know, top of the table sort of battle, one at 2nd versus 3rd. And Leeds Knights taking it 4-2.
Yeah, very tasty game, very tasty.
Yeah. Interesting one as well, that, because Sheffield beat Leeds the week before, didn't they? So I think Leeds had to sort of come back and, you know, stake a claim there. But it's not very often Sheffield get beat out there. Well, in general, their away form's class. And yeah, it's not very often that they're held down in terms of goals, because they're free scoring at home. And also they get beat, so massive performance there by Leeds.
It needed to be for Leeds, in my opinion. If they're going to try and claw back some of these points to gain top spot, then they need to beat Sheffield, Swindon, you know, those around them. You need to take points off everybody now, which we know Leeds can do. They're good for it. But, you know, I know me personally, I backed Sheffield for this one, so it was a real bit of a shocker to see Leeds take that one.
Yeah, I think Leeds just know how to play cup hockey as well, to be honest with you. They've got the experience, haven't they?
Yeah.
100%.
So if we continue on, there we are. So then we had games on New Year's Day. Only one game. Swindon Wildcats hosting the Basingstoke Bison, and Swindon taking this one 6-2. Bit more of a conventional, you know, good result for Swindon, that one.
Yeah, it was out of the link. You know, it's against Bison, who they are quite local too. So I think they wanted to make sure it's on New Year's Day.
Had a couple of sticky ones there, haven't they?
Yeah.
With the Bison.
Yeah, Bison aren't no joke. Definitely not, especially at home. They love a home game, don't they? But I think they'll have kept an eye on the game previous night, Sheffield and Leeds, wanting to know what's about them. And just because Sheffield were the closest rivals, they'll have thought, right, we need to go out and sort of extend this. I know, again, all the players are like, we only focus on ourselves, we only focus on the game in front of us, but, you know, come on, we're all human, aren't we? You're going to be like, right, we need to extend that.
You're calling bullshit on that then?
I'm not calling bullshit, I'm just saying. It's true, isn't it? It's true. Like, I spoke to Ollie Endicott last week, and he said, although, you know, you are looking at the person, the team in front of you, naturally, as a human, you do that, and
you do it about teams and players. You want to know who's doing what, don't you? If you're coming up against somebody, you want to I need to keep an eye on him. Because if
Yeah.
you didn't, you'd just get absolutely mugged off, wouldn't you?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Oh, I hadn't looked who's done what
Don't
for
know
that
where
team.
anybody is.
I don't
Come
know
off
any
it.
of them. I don't know what
Don't
they've
buy
done.
it.
Absolutely not.
But again, a massive result for Swindon. You know, scoring 6 again, so plenty of goals at home. They look cooking really nicely in there. And you know, warming himself up for that big clash on Saturday, which we'll obviously go into in a minute.
Yeah. Friday, 2nd of Jan, Romford Raiders hosted the Milton Keynes Lightning and MK taking it 6-3.
Yeah, fair play to MK on this one. You know, this is a big win because Romford are a good team. They're a good side this season. I think we need to mention, obviously, they're without Sean Miller now.
Yeah,
Big indefinitely.
loss for the league.
Yeah, unfortunately, an injury for him has been season ending, and we don't know whether he will be back at some point. But bit of a sad story there, and he was a big miss for them.
Judging by what he said on Instagram, I think that's him done now, isn't it? Until he said thank you ice hockey or something like that, which is sad, isn't it? But
Big shame, good player and a good guy.
Yeah,
really good guy. Yeah, he offered us his interview before he signed back up for Raiders, didn't he? So, yeah, it's a shame. Sorry, Brad, carry on. Man.
No, I was going to say, but nonetheless, you know, Milton Keynes still had to go and get the job done, and they did that. So fair play to them. I'm hoping for their sake they do start building a bit of momentum from that now.
It's a win that they needed that in it as well.
Yeah.
Because again, even though they beat Leeds the other week, then they've dropped points again, and it's like, you know, you need to be building something if you want to look good for playoffs.
So moving into Saturday, 3rd of Jan. First game, Basingstoke Bison hosting the Peterborough Phantoms, and as you just mentioned, the Bison love a home game. They took it 4-2 at home.
Yeah.
Really good result for the Bison, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great
Peterborough
result.
side.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about how free scoring the first line of Peterborough can be, and to only keep them to 2 goals, what speaks volumes about their defence on the night.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Is that worrying signs for Peterborough ahead of their semi-final coming up or not?
Maybe they've got too many eyes on that.
Maybe so.
You don't know, do you? It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Unless you see performance, it's hard to say, whether they have just wobbled a bit there or
Yeah.
eyes elsewhere.
We shouldn't discredit Bison as well. They're class on their own pad, aren't they?
Yeah. Bristol Pitbulls hosting the Sheffield Steel Dogs. Steel Dogs taking this one 3-1. I don't think it was too surprising to see that. Maybe a bit more of a scoring. We maybe expected there.
I would have probably said that I thought it might have been a higher score for Sheffield, and that's no discredit to Bristol because we know that they're quite good in their barn. But yeah, definitely I would have expected to see the 2 points go to Sheffield there.
MK Lightning hosting the Telford Tigers. Tigers taking it 6-3. So as good as MK did the night before, Telford are cooking again, aren't they? It seems, and getting a bit going.
This is an interesting one. This, I think, at this point they were like 5 wins out of 6 or 6 wins out of 7 now. Like Telford are really starting to cook something up, and I don't want to say it's our mate McPhee who is the leading catalyst in that, but you know he has been a big player for them, getting him back. You know, the first and second forward lines are free scoring. They're all getting points, and to go to MK and put 6 past them in their barn, form or not, look what they did to Leeds the other week. Like, it's to be commended, that.
Yeah, absolutely. Good result there for Telford.
Yeah.
And the last league fixture on the Saturday was Solway Sharks hosting the Hull Seahawks, which we mentioned, and that one ending 5-2
Keep
Solway
swiping.
Sharks.
Let's go next. On to the next.
Well, obviously, there's also the cup game to mention on the Saturday,
Yeah.
and that was Swindon Wildcats and Leeds Knights, obviously at the Link, and it ended 4-3, I believe. 4-3?
Yeah, 4-3
So-
to Swindon.
Yeah.
Tough, interesting game that, because although it finished 4-3 to Swindon, on one hand for Leeds, I think going home, they'd have thought, well, they need to come to the Castle next week. And if you leave the Link with just a 1-goal deficit, I know obviously you're 1-0 down technically, but it's not the worst result in the world, is it?
No. Not for as good as Leeds are. It's nothing, is it, really?
At the Castle as well, the thing you don't want is going back to your home ban and then being like 3 goals down and having to.
I was just going to come back to.
recreate
Do you not
that
remember last year where Romford went to Leeds
Yeah.
in the second leg, and I think there was 2 or 3 goals up, and you must have thought, here we go,
Yeah, just
and they
keep
lost
tight.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so they've got form for turning it around of Leeds. So.
Do you? Oh, I mean, we'll get into it later.
Yeah.
So.
So then moving on to Sunday's fixtures, Sheffield Steel Dogs hosting the Bristol Pitbulls, and Sheffield taking this one 4-3, so a lot closer than the Saturday night game. You know, very close, but still Sheffield getting that result over the line. So a bit of a tougher weekend for Sheffield, isn't it? I know they had 3 fixtures.
Yeah.
Obviously playing Leeds, but
three games in 4 or 5 days. So that and Leeds was one of them. Doubleheader against Bristol is never easy. So to come out with 4 points in bad, really, is it?
No, absolutely not. Leeds Knights hosting Basingstoke Bison. Leeds taking this one 4-1, which I'm sure they're really happy about after the night they had in Swindon, where obviously it must have sapped them of a fair bit of energy, to stay in that one and keep going.
Yeah, and it's Scar being opened by
the debut of Thanos.
Owen Sobchak,
Yeah.
1 goal, 2 assists on his first start for Leeds.
Yeah, he's for anyone who doesn't know, he's been put on first line with Matt Bissonette and Kieran Brown. Kieran Brown got 4 points on the night. Sob's got 3. I think Biss maybe got 2, but that's going to be just a sick line.
He's been there 5 minutes and he's already cooking.
Yeah. Jerk shot. But he, it looks like he's fitting really well. All the boys was all over him and putting him on Instagram and stuff like that. So he'll be loving that way.
Fair play to him.
And yeah, fair play to Sobs. Fair play.
Hull Seahawks hosting the Solway Sharks. Seahawks taking it 6-5 as we've covered. Peterborough Phantoms hosting the Swindon Wildcats. This one going to overtime and Swindon taking it 5-4. Really close game, and I'm sure Swindon are happy to have gained that extra point on the night, really. Tough places, Peterborough, as many people have said, but getting over the line, that extra point, I think could come down to that in the end.
They seemed really good in overtime, to be honest. I think I'm just going from feeling here, but I feel like every time we've seen an overtime win, it's gone Swindon's way.
Yeah, they're very, very rarely lose an overtime, do they?
And the final fixture, this one was a bit of an eyebrow raiser. Telford Tigers hosting the Romford Raiders. Telford taking it 10-2.
Yeah. Romford had I'm not discrediting Telford at all, but I think the only import that they had skating on the night was CC in goal. There was obviously a bit short benched, but let's not discredit Telford because Telford have had an amazing game.
Play what's in front of you.
Yeah, exactly, and they've made a statement there, haven't they? And we'll go into the standings now, and because of their very, very good weekend, they are now looking pretty nice in the table, aren't they? And again, the usual suspects come up, and there's a few that actually was a little bit unexpected as well. So maybe a little bit later on in the episode, you might hear about that.
Yeah. So let's look at it then. The standings: Swindon Wildcats still top of the tree still. 31 games, 51 points. Sheffield Steel Dogs in second, 34 played, 50 points. Third, Leeds, 31 played, 43 points. Fourth is now Telford Tigers, 32 played, 37 points. Fifth, Peterborough Phantoms, 31 played, 36 points. Milton Keynes are in sixth, 32 played, 34 points. Hull Seahawks in seventh, 31 played, 33 points. Romford Raiders 8th, 32 played, 26 points. Basingstoke Bison 9th, they've played 28 and got 25 points. Bristol Pitbulls dropped to 10th, 31 played, 24 points. And Solway Sharks bottom, 31 played, 19 points. So a little change in that middle of the pack again. Seahawks have dropped a little bit, and 2 points they got at home on Sunday, keeping them close enough so it can still be quickly regained. Telford moving back up the tree. A few movers. It's looking quite good, isn't it?
Sitting nicely in fourth Telford, aren't they?
And we're looking at the top as well. I sort of in my mind, I know they're in the second position, but I almost discount Sheffield from being in second position just because of the number of games they've played. And I think, okay, well, for me, they're probably maybe their biggest competition could actually be Leeds.
Yeah, but you say that,
they're still 8 points.
If Leeds win all their games outstanding, they're still
a point behind.
Still a point behind, aren't they? So. I mean, I know what you mean because they have played 3 more games, and obviously, that'll matter a lot. And the table will probably look a lot different. But they're just slowly churning away them wins for me, Sheffield, and they're a bit of a unique one. I think obviously with Leeds and Swindon having that cup final as well, they maybe are looking at Sheffield, and this is the sort of time for Sheffield to sort of be cooking that up, but. Obviously, they've got a semi of their own, haven't they, coming up? So
I just wanted to point out. Obviously, you mentioned about Swindon there, but they've won 3 times in overtime, but they've also lost 3 times in overtime.
I wouldn't have said that though.
No, I'd think it'd be more favourable. I know we look at Sheffield there. Sheffield have got a pretty decent record. I think they've got one of the best in the league at winning 6 in overtime and only losing 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting that because I would agree if you'd have just said to me, do you think Swindon have won more or lost
Who's
more?
Won the most overtimes in the league?
You'd go for Swindon,
wouldn't
yeah.
you?
Well, we'll leave it there then, fellas, and you know,
Look at that. Or...
well, it's knockout, isn't it?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
There's always one, isn't there?
Had a long weekend, haven't we?
It's all right, fella. You're all right.
First
All
day
right.
back at work.
That wraps up the results for the past week. So now it's time to look at our team of the week for this week. Shall we dive straight into it, boys?
Yeah, let's get
straight
into
into it. So our netminder for this week, and it's somebody who seems to be in it most weeks, to be fair. He always mops up and he's one of the best, and it is Leeds Knights Sam Gospel. Played all 3 games this weekend for the Knights, obviously the 2 league games and the 1 cup game away at Swindon. 2 wins and keeping them right in there in that cup semi-final. You know, they only left the link with 1 goal deficit, so that'll be massive from going back to the Castle. Conceded only 6 goals but faced 136 shots, an average save percentage of 94.09. It's some going that in it, really.
He's some guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think in the 2 league games it was like right up there with like 96 in both as well. So
Yeah.
especially against like a team like Sheffield, for example, like that's testament in it, really.
It is,
So
yeah.
fair play, Cosy.
So our first defenceman in this week's team of the week is Leeds Knights, Bo Neely. Well, he's obviously part of that massive decor for Leeds, but as well as contributing defensively, in only conceding 6 goals in the 3 games, he got 2 assists versus Sheffield on Wednesday, added an assist versus Swindon in their cup semi-final, and then scored and assisted versus Basingstoke in the 4-1 win on Sunday. So he's some players.
Get him as a forward.
I was going to
Is
say,
he there?
he's doing his business at the back, conceding hardly any goals, and then going forward and scoring.
It's getting boring back here, lad.
Yeah.
So he wants to get involved with the play, doesn't he? But fair play to him as well, because I think they've just got more D-men back as well. So you'd think his minutes would reduce, but he's still up putting out. So good that.
Against big teams as well, contributing as well.
Yeah,
you know, no
definitely.
disrespect to Basingstoke, but chipping in against Sheffield and Swindon is pretty big.
It is,
Yeah, it is.
absolutely.
Fair play.
So we've mentioned a lot of Leeds. It wouldn't be fair for us not to put a wildcat in there. So our other defenceman is Ben O'Connor. I believe this is the 2nd week in a row that Ben's in the team, but 3 wins in 4 days is ridiculous. On Thursday night he got a goal and 3 assists versus Basingstoke. He then got 3 assists versus Leeds in that 4-3 cup semi-final first leg, and then to wrap it up the weekend he got another goal and another assist against Peterborough, and the goal came in overtime to give Swindon the 2 points and keep them right at the top of the table, because again they're only 1 point in front of Sheffield, aren't they? So thoughts on that, lads?
I want to come straight out because I said at the beginning of the season when we was talking about players and who signed up, and I said I wasn't that impressed by Ben O'Connor at first, because he seemed to slowly, sort of settle his way in. But you can see why there was big hype about him now, because he is mopping up in all areas of the game.
He had so much value to that Swindon team, didn't
Absolutely,
he?
yeah. Getting him in was equivalent to like an import.
Massive.
Really.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
that good.
1000%.
So moving on to our forwards then, and it is back to Leeds Knights for our first forward, and it is Kieran Brown. Busy week for Brownie in terms of output this week, helping the Knights to 2 wins and keeping them close in that cup semi-final tie. 2 assists versus Sheffield on the Wednesday, 2 assists versus Swindon on the Saturday, and 2 goals and 2 assists versus Bison on the Sunday. 8 points, 2 goals, 6 assists. Just another weekend in the life of KD, innit?
Standard, easy peasy.
Mop up.
Not too bad, is it?
I think it's fair to say he's the epitome of British forward, isn't he?
He's what all British forwards should aspire to be.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah. Okay, so our next forward is Solway Sharks, and it is Dylan Stewart. So we obviously know Stewart Owie. He's good for it, really.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. He's good on the ice. He's humble, but Solway were very good value for their points this week, and arguably could have had more nearly on the Sunday. You mentioned briefly in the Seahawks reaction how instrumental he seemed to be for Solway going forward, and with his assists and stuff as well. Obviously, you got an assist on Saturday to practically sink us. 2 more goals on Sunday against us,
you
away as well.
You're forgetting the 2 goals on Saturday.
Oh, sorry, and the 2 goals on Saturday.
2 plus 1.
Doing him back there.
Sorry.
Horrible.
Yeah, 2 more goals on Sunday versus us at home, and he's now up to 42 points in 31 games for Solway. So he's becoming some player, and now they're starting to string results together and get a bit of chemistry. I think he's going to fly.
14th overall in the entire league on points. It's quite interesting. You wouldn't have. No disrespect to Stewie, but with Solway being where they are, you wouldn't have expected that, really, would you, from a Sharks player?
I would, similarly say, obviously now Johnny Yanks has come in and he's some player in here. It's maybe just taking the polish off Stewie a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because it might open the game up a bit more for Stewie now, and I think you'll see more performances like this.
Yeah,
but at the forefront of it all at the beginning of the season, it was Stewie who was putting points and goals up. He was always involved, but. A great weekend for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And how could we finish this weekend without a Telford tie? A big 4-point weekend.
It's only because we got told off.
Oh, man. We was warned big time about this one. But we got a message on Sunday night from one of the somebody, I don't know whether they want to be mentioned or not, so I won't say their name, but they're always helping us out. They're always messaging us about Telford and things like that. And basically the message said, if you don't put this player in Team of the Week this week, there's going to be a problem. We don't want any problems, do we, lads? So this week, Tate Shudra from the Telford Tigers has made our Team of the Week. So again, Tate's one that, was at Sheffield last year, maybe didn't get as many minutes as he wanted to. Obviously, a lot of people compare him to his brother Cole, who's obviously with the Steelers now. And he made his move to Telford this year. No real high expectations of him. He's been around the third, second line for Telford, moving up and down. And, he's had a real good weekend this weekend. He's obviously contributed to the 4-point weekend for Telford. He scored 2 on Saturday in that massive away win against MK, and then he got a hat-trick against Romford, which obviously I know they scored 10, but can't take that away from the kid, can you? He's had a really, really positive weekend. So not just 5 points, but 5 goals this weekend for Tate Shudra.
Really good from that. It's not often you get many hat-tricks, is it? So to get one, like you say, he's just come into Telford this year. It's a big year for him, really. I think there would be eyes on him to see how he would perform. Yeah. And weekends like this aren't going to do him any harm, are they?
Absolutely not. So fair play to Tate.
Big well done to everybody who's made the Team of the Week this week. Some high point scoring players amongst everything, aren't they? We've got some high point scoring defensemen, forwards.
Could have had loads of Telford Tigers in there, couldn't we?
Could have been just Telford Tigers all
the way
through.
Could have been Telford Tigers all the way through. So the Tigers fans might feel a little bit unjust there. Swindon as well, they've had 3 wins, but I think the beauty of Swindon is they're just a team, aren't they? They're individual people who you're going to pull out of the team and be like, oh, he scored 8 points this weekend. They're all just chipping in, and people like Van der Merake and Griffith spring to mind from people I've heard this weekend. Yeah, Henderson from Telford, Thompson from Telford. You can go on and on, can't you?
Yeah. That concludes our Team of the Week for this week. Congratulations to everybody who made it. Now we're going to get into looking at the coming fixtures, but first we'll hand over to Rossy, who's going to give us our results from the scores on the doors.
Do you want to know something, boys?
No.
Okay. On to the next segment. This potentially might have been the highest scorest round to date.
Really? I mean, somebody's got some scores right.
Does that surprise both of you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. New book, by the way. I made an absolute butchering of that, and but the old one's retired. We're in a new 2026 now, and yeah, this is from the last book, but I'm gonna give this piece of paper to who's won this week as well. Right. So, before the start of this week, the table was as followed. So in third place was Brad in third with 98 points. Rossy was second with 104, and Azza was 112. So how do you both feel that you did this week?
Not great.
I didn't feel like I did great, but I tend to forget about my predictions and just move on, let fate do its thing.
Okay. So there was 12 games this week. I can confirm that one of us scored 8 points this week. One of us scored 9. And get a load of this, one of us scored 15 points this week.
Wow.
15!
Jesus!
Yeah.
That is a mop-up.
So this person who's got 15 points got 2 correct scores.
Oh,
Wowzer. So, the person who scored 8 points was Brad.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, Brad got every fixture right other than the Sheffield Leeds game, Romford MK, Basingstoke Peterborough, and Solway and Hull. Every other one you got correct, so not too shabby. So the person that got 9 also got a correct score.
Ooh.
So had they not had the correct score, you would have been second this week. The person who scored 9 this week was me. Azza was the one who got 15
You are joking.
points.
Top
Back-to-back double correct result.
Azza only got, for the record, Azza only got Basingstoke and Peterborough wrong this week. He guessed Swindon would beat Basingstoke 6-2, and you bet that Leeds would beat Basingstoke 4-1. So 15 points for Azza.
What a mop!
When I was
that is.
marking this, I'm not going to lie, I nearly cried as much as Subchat leaving Hull, but not quite as much. Yeah, 15 points, Az. What do you reckon?
Well, like I say, I got 2 correct results last week. I got the Romford game back-to-back right, didn't I?
Yeah.
And to do it again.
Yeah, so I mean that's the beauty of the predictor, right? Any week you can get some, you can flip the table.
I know them correct scores. Honestly, they'll just
Unbelievable.
absolutely shoot you up the table, won't they?
Absolutely. But let's still talk about the table. Bit more of a gap now, obviously, with Azza getting 15 points. So, Brad, let's give him a round of applause. Has made the 100 club. Well done, Dennis.
Thank you.
Come on, sit down.
Brad is still in third with 106 points. I am in second now, obviously, with 113 points, so I'm only 7 points ahead of Brad. But with a whopping 127 points, it's Azza. Azza now leads by 14. 14? Does he? No, more than that. How many? Don't know. Quick maths. 14 points. Leads by 14 points. Well done, Azza. So yeah, absolutely covered
Wow.
Az to you. Yeah.
Yeah, some
That's
result,
unbelievable.
man, mate. Some result.
Just need to keep it up.
Result. So I'm going to actually give you this to frame. You can put that on
Thank
your
you.
desk you can put that desk at where?
We'll take it
When
to
you're having a rough day, you just think, that's why I'm doing this.
When the shit hits the fan, I can go, do you know what? I'm putting up with this for these results.
Absolutely. But,
That's stunning,
yeah,
that.
that should go on the wall, that, because we might not see 15 points again in a week, so fair play to you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, we'll leave that short-lived because I know I upset you last week by banging on about it too much. So
Yeah.
we'll get straight into the
Banging on
upcoming
about
fixtures.
what?
Another week of it. God.
Come on, then. Come on. So, first games are on Friday the 9th of January. We've got a few. The first one, Basingstoke Bison hosting the Romford Raiders. Bison good at home, as we well know. Romford had a bit of a tricky week last week, though, didn't they? And obviously that 10-2 that they got a bit of a drumming by Telford might linger a little bit.
Yeah, I'll take this one first. I think it'll be 4-2 to Basingstoke.
Yeah, but
See a
I
little-
was going to say the exact same thing.
Little empty netter or something.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'll go the same. I'll go Basingstoke, but I'll go 5-2 then.
I'm also going to go Basingstoke. I'm going to go for 4-3.
Okay.
Solway Sharks hosting the Sheffield Steel Dogs. So just for a bit of context, we was told that Solway had 3 home games this
There are 3
weekend.
home games.
Solway have been pretty good at home. So is a 6-pointer on the cards? Entertaining Sheffield, first night. What do we think?
Sheffield for me.
I would agree.
Yeah. I think they've just got so much quality in there to not go and get the points. I'll go for a 5-3.
I'm going to go Sheffield as well, but I'm going to go for 4-2.
I was gonna. That's 2. I've literally had the same as you in my head. For points, then I'll also go Sheffield. Looking at the later games for Solway, I'll go 5-4 to Sheffield.
Interesting. Should be a real ding dong that one then if
Yeah.
it goes by our
Be
scores.
nice, wouldn't it?
And the last game on the Friday is the second leg of the Cup, and it is Leeds Knights hosting Swindon Wildcats. Swindon going to this with a goal lead over the full tie. What do we reckon? Rossy,
Me first. That's fine. Okay.
That's why I would pass on the top two.
Is it? Nice. Okay. Tricky one this because Sobchak will not be able to play for Leeds. Is my understanding. They are a import down now because Sam Dunn is out for 4 weeks, which might fall into the ins and outs of it. Tricky one this, but it's Leeds at the Castle, isn't it? I'm gonna back Swindon, and I'm gonna back them to win 3-2.
I'm going to join you, and I'm also going to go Swindon, but I'm going to go 4-2. I just think Leeds are going to have to chase the game, and I think that open goal is why I've gone for a 2-goal gap as opposed to 1. Yeah. So I think the empty netter will come in clutch there, 4-2.
Yeah. I also think Swindon as well.
Ooh,
I was thinking about it, but
Points,
you mentioned about the imports and stuff, and I thought, might have a point. I'll go for... I think it's actually not going to be massively high scoring. I'm going to go for 3-2.
We're matching.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
That mops up Friday's games. Saturday, Leeds Knights host Peterborough Phantoms.
Straight back into it, aren't they?
Straight back into it. They're either going to be on a massive high after actually getting through that semi-final, or they'll be on a bit of a downer and needing to recover to keep league form in good shape. I will go first if you want. I'm going to go Leeds Knights. I'm going to go 4-2.
Okay. I'll join you with that. Sob's back in the lineup, obviously. He looks like he's done pretty well for them so far. So I'm going to go Leeds and I'm going to go 5-3.
Yeah, I'm also going Leeds, but I will go... I'm going to go 5-3. Did you go 5-3? I'll go 5-2.
Just copy every answer there.
Swindon Wildcats also straight back into it, face off at exactly the same time as Leeds.
This is our favourite fixture, isn't it?
El Kittico.
El Kittico!
Swindon Wildcats host a very informed free scoring Telford at the minute. This is a real banana skin fixture for Swindon.
Absolutely, and if they've gone all out the night before, you don't know what way this is going to go.
For me, if there was going to Telford to play this game, I might have flipped it a bit, but given that it's at the link, I'm going to go Swindon. I'm going to go for a 5-3.
I'll cordially invite you to go next, as Telford or Swindon.
Telford.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm going to go Telford. I've got points to spare. Just something's telling me that regardless of what happens between Swindon and Leeds, they've also then got to travel back the same night back to the link in whatever mood they're going to be in.
Yeah.
They either win it, they're in the final, does the foot come off the gas a little bit, maybe too much celebration the fact to get into a final, I don't know, probably not because of the mentality of the group, or they're going to be a bit downhearted that they got knocked out. I feel like there's a slip in here. Yeah. I really do. I am going to go for a Telford 5-3.
Oh, interesting. I thought you were going to go what I was going to go for. I am going to go Swindon, but I think this is going to be a game of we need to score one more than you. So I'm going to actually go Swindon to win 5-4. I think Telford are good for the goals.
It's interesting then. However, I'm going to get that extra point, or you're going to stick one back on me.
Yeah, only about 15 to claw back. Come on, the correct scores.
Bristol Pitbulls host Romford Raiders. So these two went against each other in a double header a fair few weeks back, and it was a really tough one for us to call. And I think in the end we went one either side, didn't we? I think they both defended the home ice.
Yeah.
What are we thinking this time round with the Pitbulls at home first?
I'm thinking Bristol, to be honest with you. So with that, I might as well predict the score. I'll go Bristol Pitbulls 4-3.
Okay. I also am going to go for Bristol. I think Romford are in a bit of a tricky situation at the minute. They've not got a lot of legs.
No.
They're heavily relying on their first and second line. I don't know where their imports are, injuries, whatever. So I'm going to go Bristol because, again, remember Bristol had a pretty nice weekend this weekend against Sheffield. I know 0 points, but they didn't, they
didn't get walked over.
No, definitely not. So I think I'll go Bristol. I'll go 3-1 to Bristol.
I'm also going to go Bristol. I'm going to go 4-1.
Yeah.
Milton Keynes Lightning host the Hull Seahawks.
Wow, so first of a double header. This is going to be an hard weekend. This.
I'll go first if you want. I'm going to go for Milton Keynes. I just, after seeing Seahawks this past weekend where it was good effort but missing something, and I think MK have slowly turned a corner and starting to find a bit of form again.
Yeah.
And I think they'll want to owe us one when we went to their place last time and there was a few bodies light and we sort of got a good result, didn't we?
Yeah.
So I think they're going to pay us back on this one. I'm going to go for a 5-4 MK.
Yeah, I'm also going to go for MK. I think it's probably easy to look past them given the recent form, but I agree with you. I think they're starting to find that now, and with us sort of struggling with a bit of form and bodies as well at the moment with injuries and stuff. I just think they might manage to get this. If they play a physical game, we might not be able to get part of it. So I'll go for a 3-2.
Hard game to split this. MK have just lost Karinchuk, haven't they? So they're now running, I think it's 2D imports and 2 forward imports. Got a few back as well. I do want to back Seahawks, but I just don't know whether they're still in that little transition period of, still building back. We've still got a few lads out. I know that Jones and Bo have got broken bones or whatever, and you don't know when they are going to be back there, so it's hard. I don't want to back Seahawks, but no, I'll back Seahawks. It's a points game, innit? And if I end up getting a point from it, that'll be good. 3-2 Seahawks. 3-2. Come on, Seahawks.
And the final fixture on the Saturday is Solway Sharks, and they host the Basingstoke Bison. This one's tough.
I'm happy to jump in on this one if you want.
Yeah, go on.
I think Solway might be saving himself for this double header.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Solway. I'm going to go 4-2. I think they'll win 4-2.
Yeah, I'm also going Solway on this. My reason being is I expect Basingstoke will travel on the Saturday and stay over for the Sunday, so they might be fresher on the Sunday. So I'm going to go for Solway for the Saturday fixture. I'm going to go 5-2.
I'm also going to go Solway Sharks. The issue I had is if Max Wright is going to turn up and take the piss a bit.
Yeah,
that's true.
And you know what he's like. He can turn up and just be a stone wall, which will really frustrate Solway. But just watching their imports, Stewie and Jancis, and it's I can't see him not sort of scoring.
Boyce in really good form as well, isn't he?
Big game Boyce.
Yeah.
I'll go 5-3 to Solway.
Nice. Which takes us nicely into
Sunday. So the first game on the Sunday is the exact same fixture: Solway Sharks and Basingstoke Bison. I feel like you're onto something that Basingstoke will be fresher by staying over, but I am going to stay with Solway again. I think it'll be a bit of a closer game, and I'm going to go for 3-1 Solway on the Sunday.
I'm doubling up on Solway too. I'm going to go 4-3 this one. So a little bit closer because of the rest.
He's going Bison.
I am. Yeah, I'm gonna go Bison because, like I said, I just think that they might be a bit rested there, and they'll have the energy levels to give them a game. So I'll go for Bison, and I think, in fact, I'll go bold. I'll go bold on this. I'm gonna say 5-4 overtime.
Wow.
Ooh, that's saucy. Let's hope the Solway fans get down for these. When's the last time anybody's had a triple home header? That'd be really cool for them.
Be great, that. I'd love
that. Let's hope that they can get plenty of fans in and make that a good weekend.
I think it's going to be a very much a moments game, this.
Yeah.
There's going to be I think the game will be a bit end-to-end and a bit cagey, but I think there'll just be sparks. And I think those have been the biggest moments in the game.
It's real tricky with Bison because they're so good defensively. It's just that extra little step that they need. Is if they had somebody in there who's just going to bang goals in every week, or you could count on them for like 2 goals, They'd be a hell of a team, wouldn't they? Yeah, but I mean that's not discrediting who they have got now.
But it's the fair share.
Exactly.
They've got to build something, and this is just where they're at.
They've got the likes of Spadafora who's putting points up and selling. It's just You've
got to start somewhere, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Next fixture: Romford Raiders hosting the Swindon Wildcats. So another game for Swindon. What sort of state are they going to be in after obviously playing first Leeds and then Telford and now away at Romford?
I I'll jump in with this. I think the thing about Swindon this season is, the crazy thing about this is, this is the third game of the weekend, I could see Arundel going, right, fourth line's going to be first line tonight, third line second, first line a fourth, and just sharing minutes, you know, like the likes of like your Van der Mirakas and your Ryan Moore's just going to play 15 minutes or special teams or something, because they're that depthy and they're that good. You know, like the fourth line could go against Romford's first or second line and do a good job. For that reason, I'm going to go a 4. It won't be as big of a win. I'm going to go for a 4-2 Swindon win.
I was very similar to this. I am going to also stick with Swindon. I'm going to go 3-2.
Yeah.
I think it's that grit and
they'll be on
digging
yellow
out
battery,
result.
won't they? But
yeah.
It's just if they can get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I'm going to go Swindon as well, but I think it might be a little bit more high scoring. Although I know they've got CC in goal. Like
Cole's not one to be discouraged.
Yeah, at home as well. You know, you think he's going to stand on his head. So, but I'm going to go for 5-2 to Swindon.
Let's hope the officiating down in Romford's a little better this week, because Jesus,
goals and goals as well.
They've had a hell of a few weeks, haven't they?
Yeah. Wonder how long it is before somebody gets hurt on the humbug team.
Yeah.
how long can you take this? Where you know it is a points game and it is a business at the end of the day, and these decisions are costing.
Romford are just going down and down and down, and
Yeah.
you know someone's going to end up getting really.
Yeah, somebody's going to get a bit upset, aren't they? So part of a double header, Hull Seahawks hosting Milton Keynes Lightning. This is tough, really tough, because a part of me thinks Seahawks at home, different beast, but again, just after watching Solway and almost throwing it away,
Do you want me to set the gauntlet?
I'll just go straight in there and I'll say MK are going to get 4 points against us.
Okay.
I think it'll be close again. I think it's going to be 5-3 to Milton Keynes.
Interesting.
I was thinking similarly, but I'm going to go 4-point Seahawks, and I'm going to go 5-4 to Seahawks.
Wow. I'm going Seahawks for this game. I backed MK to win at their home. I think we'll win at ours. I don't think we've got loads and loads of goals in us at the moment, so I think it'll be quite tight. I'll go for a narrow 3-2.
Interesting.
Tasty.
Peterborough Phantoms host the Bristol Pitbulls. I think this is going to be Phantoms. We know what they're like at home, and I think they'll take this one 4-1.
Yeah, I'm following suit with that. Peterborough Phantoms again. Yeah, I think they will, do the business at home. I'll go for a 3-1 though.
I'm going to go Phantoms also. I'm going to go 5-2. I think first line fever is going to be in play.
And then probably the biggest game on the Sunday, Telford Tigers host the Sheffield Steel Dogs.
Now, could Telford be the ones to put the fire out on Sheffield's red hot form? Because, you know, even away from home they are on it, aren't they?
Well, we stopped them over Christmas.
Yeah, true. But that's not a bad show.
Well, I'll take this one first if you want. I am going to back Telford at home. I have done quite a lot, to be honest, because I do think they are a different beast
I
at
agree.
home. So I'm going to go Telford in a 4-3. 4-3.
Okay. I just wanted to check something there before I put my prediction in, and I was tempted to follow you, but I'm going to go for Sheffield. And the reason I'm going to go for Sheffield is they've got Saturday night off, where Telford play Swindon, and I think that might be a big factor in this.
Could be, yeah.
I am going to go for Sheffield, and I'm going to go for a 5-3.
So I was going to go for Telford, but you've just swayed me towards the other end there. It's real tricky because Telford are a different beast at home. There's no question about that. Sheffield, though, you know, they're really good away from home. I'll go for Sheffield to win. I'll go 4-3 because I do think Telford are worth the points, worth the goals.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the fixtures then, boys.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You know, some big games coming up. I think between us, we've already said that we might be eyeing up that game on the Friday, the second leg of the semi-final. We might be getting the stream to watch.
Yeah,
It should be a good watch, that one. Bit of a shame we can't get down to watch it, but it'll be a bit touch and go, won't it, getting from here in a busy traffic.
It's a bit tight, isn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, I think we'll just watch at home where it's nice and warm, because at the minute it's like -4 in Hull.
Yeah.
It's absolutely tragic.
And Lee drinks freezing.
Imagine it in there. You know that the game's feisty just to warm it up, wouldn't you? Because at the minute you wouldn't want to be sat in there. And that concludes our episode then, boys.
Yeah.
Again, we want to say a big thank you for Solway for their hospitality and looking after us, and it was great to meet some of the fans who were also very welcoming and seeing the players. Great experience for us, wasn't it? We said we wanted to kick off the year and go to more rinks. Obviously there's more we would like to do as the season does draw to a close, but great start to the year, wasn't it?
Yeah, if you've seen already, we've got some special episodes out already, and there's more to come, so keep your eyes peeled. There'll be plenty about that on our social media.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously big thanks to Logan and Ollie last week for jumping on. It was really good to get that bit of insight before the Cup semi-final, wasn't it? And obviously those boys delivered in terms of that fixture, Swindon and Leeds, that is. Obviously we've got another semi-final coming up, so we may have a special for that.
Yeah.
But we have, last week when we had that week off, we got you might have seen on our Instagram that we got a few interviews in, didn't we, lads? So let us know in the comments who you want to see our specials with. If we haven't done one already, then obviously we could get in touch with those guys. But otherwise, just like you guys said, a massive thanks for everyone for following as always and supporting. It means a lot, doesn't it, boys? And it's been a very good start to 2026.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Slapshot Syndicate, pure ambition. 3 mics, 1 mission. Azza and Rossy, yeah, that's the crew. Dropping knowledge, what you gonna do?